flow. Thank you for joining me for this hour-long class. And we always like to use props for this practice. If you're new to the practice, if you have something soft like a blanket or just some other padding, that'd be great for your practice. And let me ask, I forgot to mute. Can everyone just mute their microphones? I forgot to mute. Thank you. So a blanket for something soft underneath you, a couple of blocks, 1 or 2 blocks if you happen to have them. And I have a bolster, and that's just nice for your Shavasana practice if you happen to have one. And that's about it that we'll need for our practice today. We're going to be focusing on twists. So I have a couple of twists that we'll be focusing on in this gentle practice. We like to start in seated, so I invite you to find a comfortable seat. I like to sit in half lotus. This is just comfortable for me. You don't have to sit like this. Whatever's best for you. You might just cross your legs in a different style or even extend your legs if that feels better for your back or your hips. Or even sit up against a wall or even in a chair if you want to. You really just want to be comfortable for these first few minutes of your practice as we settle in, get into breath, and do some mindful meditation and movement. So as you're settling in, you can go ahead and close your eyes or just soften your eyes. Just take a soft gaze forward or downward if you have your eyes open softly. And just take these first few moments to tune into your own breathing. Just notice your breath. It's just steady breathing. You don't have to do anything special with your breath at this moment. Just the awareness that breath is moving through you. Using the breath to guide ourselves inward, to take a journey inward, to be more aware of what's happening on the inside, and letting go of the things that are going on outside for the moment. This is your time to take care of yourself, whatever that might mean or what you might need in this practice today. Maybe you're just wanting to just slow down, take your time, calm your mind. Maybe you just need some nice physical movement in a gentle way today. Or any other thoughtful or emotional intention that you would like to bring to your heart. So this is our silent and still breathing meditation, bringing ourselves to a greater sense of awareness and connection. Go ahead and take 3 more slow breaths in and out. We'll add a very simple movement after that 3rd breath. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out across the room. Reach and stretch long. Reach all the way up to complete your full inhale. And exhale, extend your arms out. Let them extend all the way out and then back down by your side, completing the breath, completing the movement. And do that again. Together we'll inhale, reach out. Good energy, good effort, nice reaching upward towards the ceiling. Then exhale, extend your arms out and back down, finishing the sequence. Now just continue to breathe and move at your own pace. Nice full breaths in, feeling the arms float up into the air. And your exhale, allowing your arms to come back down. As you move slowly, taking your time, just feel the energy in your arms, your hands, even your fingers. Notice this sensation and movement in your shoulders as you guide your arms up and down. Just notice these subtleties of the body as it slowly moves. As you reach into the air, even a lengthening and stretch quality down through the sides of your body. Noticing that. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Still just moving and breathing at your own pace. Just taking your time. When you're finished, just let your arms and hands just rest down by your side or in your lap. And just notice your body now. Just coming back to stillness, feeling that relief after being in motion. I'm just turning my body so you can see a different perspective of this. Now this next move, you're just going to bring your hands behind you. You're just going to lean back into your hands. And as you're able, perhaps roll or gently pull the shoulders back just to open up through the chest, upper chest. And you'll press down into the mat just to feel the torso lift gently. And as it lifts, it actually opens the hips a little bit. You're going to tip your chin upward and take a nice full breath in to fill up your lungs. Nice expansive feeling up top. And then exhale. We're going to add some more sensations with these next breaths. So again, as you inhale, press hands into the mat. Strong arms, feel the breath rise to fill up your lungs. Now on this exhale, as you're able, draw your navel in towards your spine, just an engagement of your belly. Again, inhale to open and expand your lungs and heart space. You exhale to connect to your low belly, and as you're able now, squeezing shoulder blades together a bit more behind you. So we've added much more sensation to the body. 2 more breaths like this as we're in this seated, mild back bend. Nice opening through the front body. After your second breath, just lower your chin. Walk your hands towards yourself just to sit up tall. Let's get a little taller by extending the arms into the air once again. Feel as if you're being lifted into the sky. And exhale, bringing your arms back down by your side. Same thing. Once you finish, just let everything relax. Everything just settles here for a moment. So I would consider that a mild back bend. Now we'll take a forward fold. So if your legs are crossed here, let's uncross them. We're going to place the soles of the feet together, moving it to cobbler's pose or bound angle. Here, you can have the heels in pretty close to the body if that feels okay in your knees, or even just slide the feet forward. And if you have something on either side of you, like a block or a couple of pillows, something like this, just so your legs actually rest on something, just to help the release and stretch sensation that we're desiring in the inner thighs. And once you've got those in place, just hold on to your shins or ankles. Yeah, then inhale to sit up as tall as you can. And as you exhale, draw navel inward towards your spine. Start to hinge forward. You're leading with your heart and your chin just a little bit. So this isn't a big movement at all. Very soft. Well, inhale right where you are to extend the spine at this angle. Exhale, pull belly in a little bit, and then hinge forward a little bit. So the only thing that's big is the breath. So a nice full breath in with a nice engaging exhale. And the movement that accompanies the breath is slower, gentler, mild. So we're hinging at the hips, maintaining a lengthened spine initially. But if you desire to go a little lower, and you're certainly welcome to go a little lower, your head might lower, your chin might drop, your back might even round. And that creates a new sensation or more sensation perhaps in your back body. As we're initially folding, we're getting that stretch in the inner thighs. As your back rounds, you might even feel this in your back. When we move in slow motion like this really does allow us to pay much more attention to those smaller, more subtle parts of the body. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Again, just aware of how this feels for you. And if your back did round, we'll re-extend the spine by first just lifting your head, maybe looking out in front of you. That should start that re-extension of your spine, and maybe hands on the mat, just to press or assist your own body as you sit up nice and tall. We'll hold here for a moment. Let's do one more thing while seated. Now you can keep the legs as they are, but we can also go back, if it feels okay, to a cross-legged position, whatever's comfortable. We're just gonna do a seated twist. Now, I'm facing you, you're facing me. I'm gonna do my best to mirror you, okay? So go take your left hand, place it on your right knee. Just cross the body and hold on to the opposite knee over there. And take your right hand and place it behind you, either on your palm or your fingertips, whatever feels best. And somewhere near your center, like near where your spine is, and just press down into the mat so it allows you to sit up as tall as can be. So press down in order to lift up, and use a breath or an inhale to help that lifting. Now as you exhale, draw belly in gently and a gentle rotation or slight twist towards your right knee. And we're only turning once. We're just going to turn this one time and hold. So even though you may not have twisted very far, that's fine. That is the intention. We're not trying to go too far or too deep. It's obvious that you're in a twist, so let's just be here in the twist. So just hold here for a few more breaths on this side. As we hold, continue to inhale and feel even taller in your seat. And an exhale, just draw belly in just to keep that core connection and stimulation. It also just helps us to hold the posture. Take one more breath in and out while we hold this twist. The next breath will come out. So we're going to inhale, grow tall right where you are. Exhale, pull belly in, then unwind to face forward. And just go ahead and place both hands on your knees or thighs, just allowing your whole body to come back to that baseline. So just a very mild, gentle, seated twist. Let's do the other side. So taking right hand on left knee, just getting things set up. We'll take the left hand behind you just to brace. You'll push down into the mat behind you to assist your own spine lengthening. That's your inhale. Exhale, pull belly in, and that gentle turn of the torso towards your left side. And hold there for a moment. Again, we're not overly rotating. That's not the intention. Holding with breath. We want mild sensation. Deep breathing in and out. So you're still actively in motion. It's just more on the inside. So as you inhale, you're sitting up a little taller. Your spine is extending. You're exhaling just to engage those side muscles of the torso. Let's take one more breath in and out as we hold. We'll move on to the next one. When you're ready, inhale to grow tall. Exhale, pull belly in, really as a way to support your body as you now unwind to face forward. Good. And again, just arms resting by your side or on your lap, everything coming back to neutral and centered. We're going to move to our hands and knees. So if you have some props here, let's go ahead and set those props to the side. Come to your hands and knees. If you're on carpet, maybe you're fine there on carpet with your mat on top. If you have a little bit of a harder surface, you might want to use a padding like a blanket. I'm going to use my blanket here. Turning it in a way so I can actually rest my knees and my hands on the mat like this. Just so there's protection for the knee joints and the wrists. So our cat and cow pose and flow. We're going to inhale when you're ready, lifting head and heart, a little arch of the back, creating a little back bend. Exhale, let's round it all out. Pulling belly button up towards spine, chin to chest. And then continue, inhale, looking up or looking forward to open your heart with an arched back. Exhale, round it all out. Now just continue to breathe and flow and move at your own pace. And just notice with the slow motion, same thing, those subtleties in the body. It's a great undulation and movement through your whole spine. You get a nice pelvic movement to help release the hips a little bit. We create a core engagement with an exhale. When you draw navel up towards spine, this is cat pose with that rounded back. The cow pose opens the heart and creates the back bend. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. Taking your time, and when you feel complete, just pause in this little tabletop posture. Take a breath or 2 and in stillness, just notice how you're feeling. We'll get set up for our next pose. If you were using some padding, let's go ahead and set that to the side and come back to hands and knees. And we're moving into our downward facing dog. So from hands and knees, just step your hands forward a little bit so that your wrists are no longer underneath your shoulders. So definitely forward, and spread out your fingers pretty wide as you press your palms into the mat. And just feel that press, that stretch through the whole palm. Keep pressing downward to feel the straightening of the arms and strength in your arms. Go ahead and tuck your toes behind you. We're going to inhale, take a mini cow pose. Just looking forward with that arched back. Exhale, round it out into a mini cat pose. Hold this posture for a second. With toes tucked, lift your knees off the mat and send your hips up and back slightly until you're in a downward facing dog posture. Very brief in this pose. Now look at the space between your hands. We're going to start walking. Take several steps, or as many steps as you need to get your feet up to the top of the mat until you're on your own 2 feet in this deep forward fold. Here, we'll inhale, slide the hands up the legs, maybe to your knees or thighs, to extend your spine so it's long and parallel to the floor. Exhale, fold back down. Now, you don't have to go all the way down. Maybe you slide down just a little bit. The slight curve in the spine, and your hands can rest right here on your shins if you'd like. You certainly can go a little deeper if it feels okay. Maybe a bit more of a bend in your knees so you can touch your toes and maybe the ground. If you're holding your head up, so I'm noticing I'm holding my head up. So if you want, let that go. Just let the head drop. Maybe shake your head no a few times. Nod yes. Shake no. Just some release in the head, neck, and shoulders. You can really do some more shoulder release by rolling your shoulders like this, by rolling making circles with your shoulders. Perhaps roll them backward, and then you can roll them forward. And then, if it feels okay, a little sway. I'm just swaying my whole upper body left and right for a little bit more back release and hip release. Coming back to center, let's get ready to stand. We're going to break this down, so follow me. We're shifting the weight back into the heels. Bend your knees quite a bit. Let your hips drop like you're sitting down into a low chair. Look forward. That should help to extend the spine. And as you're able to extend your arms out to the side like this, and then press your heels into the floor so you're able to straighten your legs. So we're standing up until we're tall. Reaching into the air, big stretch here towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. We'll hold here as we come to our first full standing posture. You might even check in with your own standing. Make sure you have a solid connection to the earth below you. Take a couple of deep breaths, in and out. We'll go through that half salute once again. Just basically folding forward and coming back up. Going at your own pace, here we go. Inhale, extend your arms into the air. Treat it like a nice stretch. Exhale, spread your wings, arms out to the side. Bend your knees and sit back into an imaginary chair. Take your time. Coming down. Let the hands drop naturally. Your head will do the same. Your back will naturally round. Maybe you'll touch toes with bent knees. Inhale, slide your hands up to the knees or thighs, re-extending your spine, that long tabletop feeling with your torso. Exhale back down to a fold. Let's just pause very briefly here. Then shifting your weight back into the heels, bend your knees, let your hips come down. Look forward, feel the extended spine, take the arms out to the side, drive heels into the floor to help you stand, activating your legs to get tall. Yes, reach into the air, there it is. Exhale, bring your hands together and down to your heart. Let's hold several breaths, mountain pose. Let's go through a full sun salute. Again, we'll be breaking this down so we really feel the integrity of the body as we move in slow motion. Here we go. Inhale, extend your arms into the air. That stretches the sides of your body. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into the imaginary chair. Moving in slow motion. This just means you're working those smaller muscle fibers a little bit more strongly. Make your way all the way down. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, extending spine. Now on this exhale, bending your knees enough, let the back round so you can place your hands on your mat in front of you. Lean into your hands so you start walking or stepping both of your feet back until you're in plank pose. Just a high push-up position, just for a moment. This is a great strength-building posture. We'll breathe in right here. As we exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air. This guides us into downward facing dog, and that's how we'll transition getting into down dog. Now you might need to make some adjustments, as I am, maybe a little step forward with your feet, some adjustment with your hands, just so you're settled into your pose. We're going to hold this a little bit longer. We're in an inverted posture. Even here, you might want to relax your head. Just release any tension in the neck. Keep pressing hands firmly into the mat to stabilize your arms, your shoulders, even your back and chest. You can keep a slight bend in the knees. That way the spine stays long and there's some mobility in your hips. Now we're going to continue. When you're ready, we'll inhale and lift the right foot, extending this right leg back. It doesn't have to be high, just long. As you exhale, bend this right knee. Bring that knee in underneath you towards your chest as you shift your body weight forward. Your shoulders will end up over your wrists. You'll set your foot down on your mat. It's okay if it's not by your hand, because we'll set this left knee onto the mat, literally pick up your right foot and step it up a little closer to your right hand like this. We'll re-lift that back knee. Now, if the weight is forward like mine is, we want to shift the weight back. So literally feel your hips shift back towards the back edge of your mat. That should lighten your hands a little bit so you can actually slide up like this. I'm literally on my fingertips, but there's no weight on my hands because I found my center. My center is my hip bone right there, so I can lift. Now I want to get one hand, then two hands up to the thigh, press into the thigh to lift torso until we're about 45 degrees. This really should allow us to be long through the torso. And we need to find more balance by activating this back left heel. Just push back or downward so you feel that leg activate. Now we need to squeeze the inner thighs towards each other to feel strong in the legs. Pull belly in. This is all to secure ourselves. Now sweep your arms out to the side, rising up, reaching up until we're in this high lunged position. You might reach for the ceiling, and then we'll lunge a little lower. Let's hold here for a couple breaths. Then we're going to inhale, kind of lift up out of that deep lunge. You're going to pivot or turn that left leg. Heel comes to the floor. You'll turn sideways, and your arms come down to parallel. This should guide you into a warrior two position right here. Now, you may not need to make too many adjustments with the feet and legs because we already did that earlier in the flow. But it's okay to make minor adjustments. Now, side angle, you're going to reach forward. Follow your right hand forward to angle the upper half of your body. There you go. Let's rotate. Bring your right arm downward while your left arm reaches upward. And just hold here for several breaths. Now, you don't have to go down too low unless you'd like to. I like to stay up high in this pose. So my forearm is just braced against my inner thigh. I'm not even close to touching the ground, but I still feel very expansive and open in the pose, and I feel the stretch in the inner thighs. Let's breathe in right here. We'll exhale to carefully turn towards the floor. Bend slowly so you can bring your palms back down onto the mat. Lift that back heel, so we're in this runner's lunge position. Push hands firmly into the floor, strong arms. If you can, lift your hips up a little bit so it releases the weight from the right foot so you can slide or step it back. So we're in plank pose again, meeting me here. Inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the sky in our return to downward facing dog. Make your adjustments with feet and your hands, and that same settling in. So if you're holding your head up, relax it, let it drop. Maybe just look down so you can actually see your feet or toes. Press firmly into the mat with the hands. Keep a slight bend in the knees. Other side when you're ready. We'll inhale to lift the left foot, extend the leg up into the air, nice and long. Exhale, bend that left knee. We'll bring that knee in underneath you towards your chest. Shift body weight forward. Shoulders are over the wrists. Set your foot down. It just might be your toes onto the mat, anywhere. Set the right knee onto the mat so we can literally pick up the left foot and place it up higher on the mat next to left hand. We'll relift that back knee. Pull the hips back enough until you feel like, oh, my hands are light. I can easily rise to fingertips like this. We've started the re-extension of the spine, but we're not completely there yet. Bring both hands up to thigh. Push into the thigh. I'm literally pushing into it to help lift upper body and to extend it so it's nice and long and straight. Activate that back heel. Just push back so you feel anchored, so you're not going to fall forward. We're centering here. Squeezing to inner thighs for strong legs. Pull belly in. Then sweep your arms out. Rise up. Reach up. As you inhale, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, deeply lunge. Again, holding here for balance. A couple of breaths. We'll inhale, lift up out of that deep lunge. Pivot or turn right heel to the floor. Torso turns. Arms come down to parallel, making your way to warrior two with minor adjustments in the body. Continuing, we reach forward, follow your left arm forward to angle the upper half of the body, rotate your arms. Now in this case, my left hand is on the inner thigh, so I haven't gone low at all, but I still feel the posture. And that's fine with many of these poses. You don't have to get too deep in them to make them work. Sometimes dialing back can be sometimes even more effective. Let's breathe in. Exhale, we'll carefully turn towards the floor and bend. So we can bring the hands back down to the mat carefully. Rise up onto the tiptoes behind you for the runner's lunge. Push hands firmly into the mat for strong hands and arms. Sliding left foot back, meeting the other, plank pose. Hold. Hold a little bit longer, maybe 2 more breaths if you're able. We're just building a little bit more strength. Then we're bringing knees to the mat. And if you're able, sit back just even briefly into hero pose. This is hero. Now we're going to do a little twist from this posture. But for the meantime, if this is a little uncomfortable, you can get off of your knees. So for this, I like to use a blanket. I can even just show you this very quickly before we do it together. So if you have some padding, or if you want to just sit differently for a moment, do that. So let me just show you this. So I'm in hero pose next to my blanket. I'm actually going to turn it up a little higher. I just made a bigger fold. And it's on my left side. So what I'm going to do is actually sit off to my left side onto that blanket like this. And both of my hands come over here to this side. I'm basically going to twist over here. Now the reason I do that is because if I didn't have this blanket and I sit off to the side and sit down, my hip comes to the floor, and I have a funny tweak in my back, and so this isn't comfortable for me. And so I need that lift, and just that folded blanket, it could be a pillow, anything, just for me, just keeps my hips a little bit more level, and so it doesn't hurt my back. So this is just what I need. So just notice what you might need, okay? So all right, so let's go ahead and do this together. So go ahead and place your blanket on your right side. I'll now mirror you. So maybe in hero pose, your blanket off to the right side, if you need it. And then just sit off to the right side, onto the blanket or to your mat. Both of your hands come over to that side. And you're just using your hands just to keep you propped up, nice and tall, basically. Now, just like that earlier seated twist, we're just using the hands, actually this back hand, your right hand perhaps, just pushing into the mat to get you nice and tall. That's your inhale. Exhale, feel your belly pull in and gently rotate to your right side. Now this left hand might actually brace gently against this thigh to help you rotate. Now you're not trying to pull or force yourself into the twist. It's just a bracing of the body. Let your breath and the muscles in the torso do the work. So again, we'll inhale, use that hand to help you lift up. Exhale, pull belly in and rotate on your own if you can. Now you won't go very far, but this hand against the thigh kind of holds you in place. I'm going to show you a special way, I think, on how to get out of this pose, okay? Let's take 3 more breaths. So this is a twist. It kind of gets into the hips. It can get into the low back. This is how we'll get out of the pose. Now, wherever you're facing, wherever your hands are, just step your hands away from your body, like you're crawling forward. That's it. And that should release the twist. And then take your hands and upper body and crawl up towards me if you're facing me like this. And now we're on our hands and knees. And that should get us out of the pose. Stay right where you are. I'm just turning sideways for a moment because we're just going to take a series of cat and cow right where you are. Inhale, lift head and heart. Exhale, round. This is just to help realign the body after sitting kind of off to the side in what we'll call a mermaid pose. So maybe just 3 breaths, cat and cow. Come back to a neutral position. We'll sit back into hero and just move your blanket to the other side now, whenever you're ready. So sitting back into hero, blankets off to your left side, and then when you're ready, just sit off to the left side for our mermaid pose and twist. Both hands are on this side. And then the left hand can kind of come behind you or just off to the side, just to a place where you are able to press into the ground to sit up as tall as you can. Your right hand will be kind of free here and eventually braced on the thigh. Inhale to get tall and lengthen through the upper body. Exhale, pull belly in. Use the breath and the core muscles here for that twist and rotation, okay? And again, you may not turn very far, and that, again, you don't have to go very far. I mean, you're already in a twist. We're just activating it a tiny bit more. And of course, because of this offset of the sitting, we're getting into our hips a little bit too. Be sure you're sitting up nice and tall. That way we have enough space. We really want space generated in the back and hips as we rotate. Take 3 more breaths. We'll be getting out of the pose in the same way. After the 3rd breath, again, just walking the hands away from your body. That should get you out of that deep sensation. Walk your hands up to the front so you can come up onto hands and knees in this neutral tabletop posture. Just like that, yes. And just do another series of breaths, maybe 3 breaths, cat and cow. On your own, again, just reestablishing some mobility and flexibility through your back and your hips. Because in that mermaid pose that is a twist, again, it releases the hips a little bit. All right, now if you're using some padding, let's just set that padding off to the side again. We're gonna go back through our lunge series. Let's go to downward facing dog. We're still breaking it down. We're gonna go a tiny bit faster, just a little bit, of stepping the hands forward, spread out your fingers, tuck your toes. With an exhale, create cat pose, that rounded spine feeling. Lift your knees off the mat, send your hips up into the air, downward facing. Make your adjustments with feet and hands. Relax your head, maybe look at your toes. Here we go. Inhale, extend your right leg up behind you, reaching long and strong. As you exhale, bend the right knee, bring it in underneath you, shifting your body weight forward, set your toes onto the ground. Set your left knee onto the mat if you need to, so you can pick up the right foot if it needs to be closer to this right hand. Relift that back knee, pull the hips back, rise to fingertips, extending the spine. It's not fully extended, so bring hands up to the thigh, press. Now we're at 45 degrees. More lengthened spine, activate that back heel. Squeeze to inner legs, squeeze in belly, sweep, arms out and up, reaching into the air, lunge. We're not going to be here long. We're going to inhale, lift up out of that lunge, pivot left heel to the floor behind you as your body turns sideways, arms come down to parallel. Just check in, just be sure your right knee and your toes are still pointing forward. Let's follow right arm forward to angle the upper half of the body. Rotate the arms, right hand down, left hand up to our side angle pose. Breathe in. Exhale, carefully turn towards the floor. Bend to bring hands down to the mat. Lift that back heel for the runner's lunge. Hands are firm on the ground. Slide right foot back, plank pose. Hold for a second. Bend knees slightly, hips into the air. I'll return to downward facing. Other side. So we've picked up the pace a little bit, but we're still breaking it down. Inhale, left leg up into the air. As you exhale, bend the knee. Bring it in underneath you towards your chest. Doesn't matter where that foot lands, because you're going to set your right knee onto the floor if need be. Pick up the left foot, place it up higher. Relift that back knee. Pull the hips back. Finding your center. Your hip bone is the center of this pose, so you can get the weight off the fingers. Let's get the hands up to the thigh, lifting to 45 degrees, longer spine. Activate your anchor. That's that right heel behind you. Push back. Feel your calf muscle. Squeeze to inner thighs to engage. Belly engaged. Sweep arms out and up. Here's our high lunge. And then our opening to warrior two. Good. Checking in with the alignment of the body. Side angle, reaching forward. Left arm reaching outward. Angled upper body, rotate the arms. Reach down, reach up. We're not here long, we're still in motion, breathing in. Our exhale to carefully and slowly turn towards the ground. Bend with ease, placing palms on the mat. We lift that back heel, runner's lunge. Hands firm on the ground. Slide or step the left foot back. Hold for a couple of breaths in your plank pose. Bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air now for downward facing dog. Some adjustments. Hold. Now look at the space between your hands. You're going to take another walk up to the hands until your feet are underneath you and you're in a forward fold. We'll inhale to slide hands up the legs to knees or thighs to extend spine. We'll exhale and round. We're going to hold this one a little bit longer. Again, a nice release for the low back. Release your head and neck and shoulders if you need to as well. A couple of breaths here. When you're ready to stand, take your time. We're still shifting the weight back into the heels. Bend your knees, let your hips drop. Look forward. Feel the extended spine here. Feel the good bend in the knees, strong legs, because it's your legs that are helping you to stand up, not your back. Extend your arms out to the side, really just for balance. Press feet into the floor, strong straight legs. Reach up into the air to finish that line in the body. Exhale, hands together, and down to your heart. Very nicely done. Hold for a moment. A couple of breaths here. Good. Go ahead and relax your arms down by your side. All right, let's do a standing twisting posture. Now here you might want to use a prop. Now it could be as easy as a folded blanket, something like this, placed between the thighs that you would just hold on to. That's if you don't have blocks, okay? So you can have a blanket like this, which is nice because it's soft. If you happen to have a block, a nice yoga block, a firm yoga block, you can just place that between the thighs. You really don't have to have anything, but what this does, it reminds us, one, to move in towards center, so that squeezing into center sensation. Okay, but it also, with that squeezing, it stabilizes the pelvis. all right? Because we're gonna be twisting, and we wanna make sure that we're rotating just the upper body and not movement in the hips. So squeezing something between the thighs will stabilize. That's it. So hold there. Then we'll inhale together. Take your arms up into the sky. As you exhale, take a chair pose. It doesn't have to be a deep seat. Just bend the knees, sit back a little bit. And then you can bring your hands to heart. I just turned sideways so you can see my angle. Because I haven't sat down deeply at all. But it's definitely a chair pose. So I'm holding. I got a good hold of the block. I'm just squeezing a little tighter so I have that awareness. Now just kind of check in with your body. You might even look at your body. Look down at your feet. Can you see your knees? Your knees are even. Your spine is long. And also your hips are aligned. You probably can't see your hips very well, but because your knees are aligned right here, your hips are aligned as well. We want to maintain that alignment. You turn towards you. We're going to inhale, find more length in the spine as you're able. Exhale, pull belly in, then twist to your right, just your upper body. Again, these aren't big movements, just a slight rotation, and then recheck your body because you want your feet, knees, and hips to be exactly the same as they were when you were in the chair pose. So they haven't moved, just your upper body moved. And so that was pretty evident in that very first seated twist that we did. We were sitting cross-legged and we turned the upper body. The legs didn't go anywhere. Breathe in. Exhale, unwind. If you can, take the arms out and then up so we can stand up once again to re-extend. That's it. Exhale, bring your arms down by your side. We'll just relax that for a moment. Very nice. Okay. So again, sitting in that chair pose and twisting. So not only are we doing a rotation, working the sides of the body, engaging here, we're working and stabilizing the lower half of the body too. Okay, let's do the other side. Whenever you're ready, inhale, sweep the arms into the air to get good length. Good. Exhale, take your chair pose. Again, doesn't have to be a deep seat. Then bring hands to heart center. Getting ready. You might even do that quick check-in with your body. Is everything stable and aligned? Then inhale to find more length in your spine. Exhale, pull belly in. Gentle rotation to your left. When I say gentle, it just means you're not turning or twisting very far. Just enough where it's obvious that you've twisted. Just as we did in the seated postures, we inhale to find more length in the spine. In this case, you want to feel like your tailbone, where hips are moving back while the very top of your head is moving forward. When we exhale, maybe pull belly in, just to help engage the torso muscles or your abdominal muscles. All right, breathe in. Exhale, unwind. Same thing, let's sweep the arms out. Rise up, reach up, extended mountain pose. Exhale, bring your arms down by your side. Pausing there. Hold. All right, very well done. Let's go ahead and remove our prop. Carefully bend so you can set it onto the floor. Just be mindful of your back and knees, and just come back up to mountain pose. Standing tall for a couple of breaths. Just going to flow and make our way back down to the earth. Here we go. Inhale, reaching tall, reaching high. Exhale, leading with your heart. Fold forward with soft knees. Take your time. Let the hands drop. Let your head naturally drop. Inhale, slide your hands back up to your knees or thighs, extending your spine. Exhale, fold carefully enough so you can bring your palms back down to the mat. Walk or step your feet back into plank pose. Hold for a moment. Let's go ahead and set the knees down onto the mat once again. Stay here. Let's do one breath. That's a cat and cow. And after that one breath, just free up the body, meaning move in any way that would feel good while you're here in this position. For example, you might just do some circles with your hips, something like this if you'd like. Or just side to side, which is what I like to do because my hips get pretty tight. And what I like to do is bring my legs a little closer together to center and then shift or kind of sink my hip to one side and just kind of rock right there. I'll turn towards you so you can see that. So I brought my knees closer together, and then I just lean to one side, and that gets into that outer hip. It just feels good. Whatever feels good. So some circles, this little hip stretch. You can even add a twist. Just maybe thread the needle if you're familiar with that. I won't break this down, but maybe just something like this. Bring one arm down to the floor, a little twist. This also can get into the low back and hip area, and it is a nice twist for the body. I'm just throwing out some options for you. Of course, there's just the cat and cow. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths. Take your time. You might take more breaths so you can make your way back up to hands and knees eventually. Once you're here, find stillness. Take a breath or 2. We're going to take a seat. So maybe you'll sit back into hero just so you get off the hands, sit off to the side, and swing the legs around to the front. So the rest of our practice will be on the floor, sitting and lying down. So you might want to sit in the center of your mat, getting ready to lie down, and have your props nearby that you can easily grab. Blocks, blankets, your bolster, just things that are ready to go for relaxation. So once you're seated in the center of your mat, go ahead and lie down onto your back. Go ahead and keep the knees bent and your feet flat on the ground. You can just have your arms down by your side and just let this settle for a moment. Let's take a bridge pose, just a mild back bend. And here's where you might want to use props. I'm grabbing my blocks here. With an exhale, you'll just press your feet into the ground so you can lift your hips. They don't have to lift very high, because what you'll do, you'll slide your props underneath you. Now that could be a big pillow, like your bolster, folded blanket, or stacked blocks, because you want to be able to maybe sit comfortably like this. I'm just sitting on the blocks, little effort in keeping the hips in the air. If you don't have props, use your hands. You can just literally sit in your hands and lift yourself up using your hands. Let's just hold here for a moment. Maybe some deep breaths in and out just to help open the front side of the body. It might be your hip flexors, your hips, your low belly. This is also opening the upper chest region. It's a mild back bend. Take 3 more breaths here. After your 3rd breath, no rush at all. Maybe pressing feet into the floor so you can re-lift your hips. Remove the props if you're using props, and just settle back down onto the ground. Once you're back down, bring your feet together, or legs together. You want to open the knees out until you're in reclining cobbler's pose. And you can also use props for this. If you don't want your legs to go all the way down to the ground, or if that's too deep of a stretch, maybe use pillows or blocks like this. And again, letting the legs rest on those props. We'll just hold here for a few breaths. Nice release for the low back and hips. We're actually also preparing for 1 or a couple more twists. So this is a nice hip opener on inner thighs. 2 more breaths. Then you'll bring the knees back up. You can set your props to the side. Now, once you're on your back like this, knees bent, feet flat on the floor, I'm facing you. You take your feet wider, okay? So take the feet a little bit wider, and then take both knees down to your right side. So both knees go to the right. You might extend your your left arm to the left. I call this a windshield wiper twist. It's just a different sensation because of the change in foot posturing. So this left knee kind of dips in because you are working the left side of the body in this posture. If you want more sensation, what I might suggest is extend your left arm behind you and reach. And that might create a little bit more of a pull sensation down through that left side. Here's another thing you can do if it feels okay. Take your right foot and place it on top of that left knee, carefully pressing it towards the ground. And that just, again, deepens this twist. These are options. Let's just take 2 more breaths on this side. Let's remove these add-ons so that foot comes off the knee, and bring your arm down by your side, and then bring both knees back up to center and let the body center here, coming out of that twist. Keeping the feet wide, knees wide, we'll take the other side. Now, if this doesn't feel quite right on your hips or your low back, go ahead and just stack the legs and just do a regular spinal twist. So knees have moved down to the left side. You can extend your right arm to the right side, directly to the right, or reach behind you with a little bit of an active reach and stretch. So it activates a little bit more of that pull and stretch quality down through the right side of the body. Same thing with the optional left foot now, placed on top of the right knee, pressing gently towards the ground. Remember, these are just options. You can try it and just assess. Does this feel okay? Do I want to do this? Maybe this doesn't feel quite right. If it doesn't feel quite right, come out of the pose, modify. Come to a place that feels more natural. Take 1 more breath. We'll come out of these sensations. Bring the knees back up to center. Let's hold center for a moment. Let's just do a nice stretch. Extend the legs out front. Reach your arms behind you and reach in these opposite directions. Lengthening. Since we did those twists, we want to make a little bit more space. One more inhale for more extension. On the exhale, you can bring your arms down by your side. We're just going to move right into Shavasana. So you can just stay right here to complete your practice, or if you prefer, move into any other pose. If there's any other stretch or movement you'd like to do right here, please feel free. Or if you're ready for your rest, choose a restorative posture. You might use your bolster, for example, to elevate your knees or legs if that feels better for you. Maybe something like this. Or a blanket to soften your head on the ground. Anything that feels right for you. Something that's restful, you can fully release and relax. Stay right where you are. No need to move. Just return to the awareness of your breath. Once again, just be aware of your own breathing. Mindful breathing. And as you're reconnecting with your own breath, take 5 slow breaths. As you're taking these breaths in and out, feel your breath move through your entire body with the intention of beginning to move your body. As you experience movement return, carefully and slowly roll onto either side of your body. If you can, move in slow motion, rolling to your one side into a nurturing pose. Hold here for a breath or two. If you had made an intention for your practice, just bring it back to your mind and your heart. Continuing to hold on to that intention, taking another breath, slowly moving again to rise now to a seated position. Still taking your time, moving slowly. And once you've made it back to seated, just ensure you're sitting up nice and tall, lengthening your spine, sitting proudly. And your arms and hands can just rest in your lap, on your legs or by your side, or bring hands to heart center. On your own, just take one more full breath in and out, and hold in stillness for a few more moments, experiencing stillness, this ease of mind and body. As we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.